Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about John Denver and the Muppets, A Christmas Together from 1979. Every year I do a different kind of Jim Henson Christmas special and sort of doing them in order, I guess. And this year I'm doing this one about John Denver and the Muppets, which also had an album at the same time, which I guess this special is sort of promoting. This is a specific kind of Christmas special. I don't know if there's a name for it, but it's just one where someone does a bunch of Christmas songs. Usually it's with guests. One in my house that's very popular is the Casey Musgraves Christmas special. It's on Amazon Prime. That one's great. There's others that have been made. I think the lady from Ted Lasso made one. Forget her name. Hannah something. Lots of people have made them over the years. I think Judy Garland's special is primarily that. This is the one with John Denver and the Muppets. John Denver apparently got along with Jim Henson, and that was sort of it. He was on an episode of The Muppet Show. I did not get to watch that before watching this, although this special and that episode came out around in the same year. I think that came out in the fall. This came out on December 5th, 1979 on ABC. I get kind of the appeal of it at the time. I know this record's very popular. I've definitely heard it before, and I've seen it in so many used vinyl things. When I read that it had only sold 1 million copies, I was honestly surprised because I've seen so many of them. Maybe in my life I'm lucky enough to come across a large majority of that million, but I've seen it in so many record collections, and like almost more than Thriller, to be perfectly honest with you. Almost more than I would say like any of those big albums. I've seen this one like pretty frequently, but I'm not sure if I am as convinced as other people are, and I've never been as convinced on the album as they are either, but you can still always have a decent time with the Muppets. No, this is really about, it's sort of basically a Muppet Show, but not on the set or anything, where the plot of the special is them making the special, and then you see the numbers from the special. So it's the Muppet Show, but not on the same set. They're on a different set. Why? I don't know. But it's basically the other set of it. And they go through various songs. John Denver, they do the 12 Days of Christmas, which is funny because Fozzie Bear can never remember his part. And they go through, Miss Piggy doesn't like her lines, doesn't like her part. She says she only has 20 lines. He bothers John. He keeps calling him Jonathan, which is kind of funny. He takes off his glasses. They have Piggy and John Denver have good rapport, actually. And they sing various songs. John Denver's song with Rolf I quite liked. He sang some songs with Kermit. Some of them were different versions, apparently, from the album, and they sang 2 other songs. And John Denver tries to do some musical numbers, which is probably best advice. He didn't do that, but he did it. They just do various songs. They do a song about the birth of Christ and kind of the nativity and all that stuff with new puppets, the different kind of puppets that probably Jim Henson had a lot of fun making. And then they sing Silent Night, and it in what looks like a living room, and then it opens up and it's a huge bunch of kids. There's not really a plot other than this is a musical Christmas Carol kind of special. The one thing, and actually my kind of Muppet expert friend Ryan Walterson didn't even notice this, is in the opening, it goes John Denver and the Muppets, A Christmas Together, and you're like, okay, cool, John Denver and the Muppets, that's fine, that's what it's called. Here are the Muppets. It's like Kermit, Miss Piggy, Gonzo, Fozzie Bear, Scooter, all right, I'm with you, Floyd, and I'm like, wait, what? Rolf the dog, and I'm like, I'm sorry, why Floyd? Why Floyd all of a sudden? Where's Animal? Why did you pick Floyd over Animal? And that, I cannot figure that out. That has been bugging me. That really took me out of it. Why Floyd? Ryan Walterson didn't know why Floyd. He was like, I never noticed that, but why Floyd now? What, is he friends with John Denver? He had more lines than Scooter, but Scooter gets titled above him. Like, that's confusing. Like, why Floyd? That's gonna bother me. Anytime I think of this special, I'm gonna think, why is Floyd front and center? Like, I don't understand why over like the Swedish Chef, or like, I don't have a problem with Floyd. It's just like so strange that like this was Floyd's moment in the cast is like, I don't understand that, but whatever. Like, it's really strange, I think. But other than that, this is a typical Christmas Carol kind of a special. John Denver does a decent enough job. I'm not a huge John Denver fan. I did not grow up with John Denver so much. He seems fine. I don't fully get why him and the Muppets had such an association. They made another special, which is like a Rocky Mountain holiday or something, which is not like a Christmas holiday. It's just like them chilling in the Rocky Mountains and stuff because he liked camping. And so he took them camping. So it's not the same as, it's not a Christmas special, so I don't have to talk about that one. This, despite the popularity of this album, and I actually, like, I'm not, it's maybe not my thing necessarily, but like that album is wide. Like, I see that thing everywhere all the time, Christmas or not Christmas. I see it somewhere every like month or something. I'm looking for vinyl or just like, you know, it just appears. I don't know. It's like something weird about that album. But this special was never really released on home video, not on DVD, and the copies that are on YouTube, and they've been there for like 11 years, and they're not the greatest. I don't really honestly think that should be the case. I think this is probably fairly well remembered, especially because of the album, and you could probably, you know, restore it up and give it a decent release. I'm a little surprised they don't. And these kind of specials, like, I watched it and had a nice time with that, and I think that's ultimately what they're supposed to do. Like, you're a kid and you're watching it and you enjoy the songs, you like Kermit being funny, you like Ralph the dog, your dad has a beer and sits there and kind of like half falls asleep, and that's like what these are for, and that's totally cool. I actually am sort of reviewed a Shrek one of these this year as well, and I'm kind of like getting the appeal because you kind of watch them like, oh, that was nice, and I don't really think you need to think about them. Maybe that's why this didn't get released more. Maybe it's a rights issue thing. I don't know. It doesn't seem to, because the album comes out, has been re-released a ton of times. So I'm not sure about all that. But I do think it should be like actually released and shouldn't just be like a crappy copy on YouTube. However, the people who did do that, I think that's really cool of them, because otherwise I don't know how I would have gotten to review this and watch it. I'm glad I watched it. I think it is probably more classic because of the album, but I'm not reviewing the album. I think as a Christmas special with just a bunch of songs in it, it's totally fine, but it doesn't really stick out. I don't think the Muppet antics are sort of subdued. I think, like, I don't really think John Denver, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm sure him and Jim Henson, like, had real chill times together, and, like, good for them. That seems great. But, like, Steve Martin, or, you know, someone who really matches the Muppets in sort of craziness and funniness would have been more fun. And I sort of think when you have someone match with the Muppets, like when it's the Muppet Show, you're like, oh, cool, you know, it's like 1 week, I guess, we'll move on from that. But like if it's this whole special, I feel like there should be more warrantedness. And it's like, it's also like there wasn't enough time from, I was surprised when I saw when John Denver was on the Muppet Show, it wasn't too far from when they released this. Like, I would have thought, oh, it came out a couple seasons ago and people loved that episode. It was like, oh, it came out just now, and like, I know it was syndicated, it was probably shot like way before this, and there's enough time to figure all that out and stuff, but like it just feels weird, because I'm not sold on the combination, you know. I just, you know, it seems like John Denver is like cool with the Muppets, like he wasn't horrible, but it's just like, it just felt very passable to me, frankly. I don't know. I liked his collaborations with Ralph the Dog and Kermit the Frog. I just didn't think he was up for like the comedy and like the weird, like kind of weird sets where he's singing with old-timey stuff and being a toy soldier. Like the toy soldier thing, I think worked because they did the slow-mo thing, and they sort of got that to work because John Denver isn't working with them. But I'm curious if the Rocky Mountain High one is actually like better, because that seems more like on John Denver's kind of thing, and this is like him mixing with the Muppets sorta, and it's also more about him and the Muppets. It's like I would have liked maybe a little more even killed or something, but I had a decent enough time. This is a fun, light special. I'm sure it's some of your favorites. I've seen reviews of people that are very much more passionate than I am. But as I go through this quest to watch all of the kind of Jim Henson Christmas specials, I am happy I saw it, and I had it. It was a nice Christmas special. It warmed my cold heart, and that was very nice. But I unless someone is like, hey, do you want to watch this again? I don't know if I would personally. But I think it's like, even this is like a really fine little special. And I do think, though, despite them not giving the most positive review, I do think it should be released and better, like restored and re-released and really put out, because it's still John Denver and the Muppets, regardless of what I think of it, is still a major part of Christmas for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people would like to see the special in a better restored format. So I hope that happens one day. But until then, it was just a fine way to hear some Christmas songs. But I don't know if it was anything more than that. But I also don't know if it actually wanted to be anything more than that. So maybe I was just fine with it warming my heart and being kind of a nice time of hearing some people sing some Christmas classics. So if you've seen John Denver and the Muppets, A Christmas Together, and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if